RPG rules props. We'll have a look at throwable objects. So if you've got a character who's strong enough, when you go near a throwable object, you can pick it up and throw it around like a weapon. Like I can do with one star here to get close enough. You can pick up this small rock, throw it at something over there, and so on. With these crates, these cubes here, you get to pick up commands, and notice that they always sort of rotate into my hands into a decent way. However I approach one of these capsules, when I go to pick it up, it will end up orienting itself the right way in my hands, so I can throw it around. Oh, some nice prop destruction there. So, see if the firework crate goes off. No, just not quite. Let's go and give it a punch. Right, so that's firework crate. Let's have a look at making that throwable. We've got something with a prop and character particles already. It's got a collider on it. What we want to do now is add a throwable script to it. And that automatically gives it a rigid body. Can give it a decent mass value, I guess. And in the throwable, we've got a number of things we have to put in here. So let's go into the fireworks box and the description. It should get that from the prop, really. Interactions, don't worry about. This is inherited from interactable, throwable, and it just works out automatically. The mass here is the strength required to lift it and the damage it will do when it's thrown. So this is a fairly light object. You'd maybe need a strength of 15 to be able to pick it up. And then a strength higher than that by 10 means you can throw it effortlessly. 25. Last holder should be hidden. We don't need that. We have this idea of anchors. That each throwable object's got a set of anchors around it. So if we have a look at this metal crate, for example, we can see it's got a whole number of anchors here. These are like pairs of rods around the object. You can see them in purple there, in magenta just. And if we go next, you can loop through them all and see how they've all been set up. And these little endpoints here are movable if you want to. So you've got different selected poles there. So imagine a throwable object. It's basically got like handrails all around the edge of it. These were made by just pressing make cubic grips, and you can also do make cylindrical grips. If we have a look at one of the rocks here, rock large, get a good viewing angle, you can see all the various handles around that are in a cylindrical pattern, and they just sort of go around the object like that. Okay, so back to our cube, to our box, this firework box. We've made it throwable. We could go make cylindrical grips, at which point we can see it's made grips like that. That's not really what we want. Probably cubic grips are better. And each of these just overwrites any existing data. So we've now got cubic grips that have been placed around the extents of the box, like that. And that's what I should do for this object here. What we're also going to need to do is we're going to have to add a sphere collider around the object as a trigger. And we'll make that nice and big, like maybe 1.5 units big. And your character has to stand within this trigger to be able to get the command to pick it up. That's all that that's doing there. And then on top of that, we'll go add a nav mesh obstacle. And we'll make it a box. I think it's already sized it appropriately. Is it? If we have a look at that cube again. Ah, we want to tick carve, that's it. So this now makes a little area around it that AIs will walk around it rather than try to walk straight through it. and this will happen no matter where it lands. That's the important thing of having a nav mesh obstacle on a throwable object. Okay, let's see how that's all worked then. What I might do actually with this prop is I'll just take its hit points down. I think it was 50 hit points. We'll give it 10 hit points again. So we can now pick it up and sort of throw it as an explosive missile in a way. Right. So when we run up to it, we enter the trigger and pick up electrical box appears. You can actually see the strength value required to pick it up there. Throw, automatically throws it, and boom. All the explosion and little grenade particles came out of that, no worries. Well, let's try that again. Excuse me. Actually, let's have a look at the navigation while we do this. So, there we are next to the object, pick up the electrical box, and now the navigation scene shows us that the hole is gone. AIs can walk through that spot now. That's my minimap marker, by the way, that yellow triangle, yellow arrow. So when we throw this, sending all the little fireworks out, yeah, that's not the best example. If we pick up a rock and throw it, pick up a large rock, go to Wonder Star. Yep, we can see there's no longer a hole in the mesh around that rock. When we throw it somewhere, to over there, the rock's gone and landed next to this fence now. So when we have a look in the scene, you can see it still cuts a hole in the nav mesh around it. So you can pick up and throw objects around, and the AI will try to move around it as best they can. Okay, so that's the basics of setting up a throwable object. So make a prop as before, add a throwable script which will give it a rigid body, add an extra sphere collider to be the trigger, so that you get the command when you walk near the throwable. That's important or it won't happen. And then add a nav mesh obstacle. In the throwable component you have to set a mass for it, and you also want to set up a set of anchors. Use one of these built-in tools to do it, and then when you've got that done, you can then go through each of them individually. Normally you do this in the prefab editor and tweak them. If you've got a more irregular shaped object like the rock, you can change where the grips appear. You know, if you have a conical object, you could line the grips up to follow the conical contours of the object. Yeah, and that's all that's required for a throwable object. You may want to, at this point, add things like this firework box we could decide is metal, and it may be important at this point to give it a passive power of material metal or material plastic or something. The reason for this is if you have a character with magnetic powers and telekinesis, you want to make sure they can lift the box or not in the correct manner. Yep, so that's throwable props and RPG rules.